We buy in again late, and we have 44 bigs to start. And first interesting hand is Ace Queen, the big blind. So we get an open from cutoff. And then we get 3-bet from the small blind here. We elect to just call the 3-bet. Comes back to the initial raiser who goes all in. So I could fold, but I like to gamble, so I call. And we are up against eights. So a flip, and we'll take it. We hit a queen, so we're ahead. We just got to fade an 8, and we do. So we get a quick double up, and now we got a nice stack to work with. So not too much later, we get dealt kings in the button. We get an open from under the gun. Of course, we're going to 3-bet this. So we 3-bet 8 bigs. Gets back to the initial raiser. Goes all in. Obviously, we're calling here. And we are up against aces. Now we just got 20%. Let's hit our king. Get super lucky, of course. Hit a king on the turn. And we take down another pretty big pot and are up to about 4 times the starting stack. So now we're moving on to level 11, and we're dealt another premium with queens and the hijack. We open this one up, and then we face a shove. Pretty easy call here. And he has king queen, so we just got to fade a king. We hit a queen on the flop, so we're pretty good. He's drawing dead, and we take down another nice spot. On to level 13, we have ace jack suited in the small blind. We get a raise from a small stack. We call. We could 3-bet here with him having a small stack, but we elected to call. We get a call from the big blind. Flop comes ace 7 king. Decent flop. Small stack bets about quarter pot. Call. Big blind calls as well. Turn comes a 10. Bad card for us because hands that we're beating like ace 10 and is now ahead of us, and jack queen is now the nuts. The big blind checks again. Small stack bets about half pot. Still call. Get called by the big blind behind. River comes a blank. Small stack goes all in for about half pot. Probably should fold, but we found the call here. And then the big blind shoves. Now the big blind checked flop, checked turn, checked river, but these check raises are basically never bluffs, especially with somebody all in behind. So we make the easy fold, and we see he had jack queen, so he had the nuts on the turn, and yeah, take a small hit, but not too bad since we didn't make the stupid call there. So same level. Next hand we have king jack off the button. We get called. We get an open raise from early position. We call. Flop comes king 2-2. Basically our perfect flop. We are losing to basically only ace king and king queen. He bets 3/4 pot. We just call here. Turn comes jack. So now we have the nuts. We're hoping he has ace king here, jacks even, or maybe an ace high flush. He bets about 3/4 pot. We just call, let him bet again. River comes another jack, so which slows him down. He checks. We try getting a little bit of value, but he folds. On to level 15. We have 10 jack suited. The cutoff, we open it up. Get 3-bet by the big blind. We call this since it can play well post flop. Flop does not come particularly good. Now he bets a quarter pot. So in this scenario, we could fold, but the big blind's 3-betting obviously with all of his premiums, aces, kings, queens, right? But he's also 3-betting with all of his ace, king, ace, queen, all that stuff. And a lot of his 3-bet hands, actually the majority of them, have nothing here. So we elect a call. Now the turn comes the 5 clubs, which gives us the flush draw. When he checks, we decide to take a shot at taking this down now if he has ace king or ace queen. So we bet, and big blind calls again. The river gives us the flush, so we're pretty confident here. And he checks again. We try to get some value, put him all in. He does not call. I don't know what he had, but probably something like ace king. And we take down another decent pot and continue to build our big stack. On to level 16, last level late registration. We have 9-7 suited on the button. Open raise, call, big blind calls, 3 ways to flop. Queen 8-7, we have bottom pair. Pretty big bet from the initial raise here with the small stack. We call because he has a lot of hands here that have nothing, trying to take it down. Big blind gets out of the way. 5 comes, gives us the open ender. Gives us the gutter and a pair. Goes all in, call. He has ace queen. We have to hit a 7-5 or a 6, 7-9 or a 6, and we do. We get lucky, take down another pot, and continue to increase our stack. All the way on to level 19. We are already close to the money. We have 5s, small line, small regular open from small stack. We 3-bet this, see if we can take it down. He shoves. 16 for us to win, whatever it is, like 2-1. Probably flipping. We call. We are flipping. He hits, and we lose a small stack, but no biggie. Huge. On to level 31 with about 30 players left. We're in the money already. Ace jack on the small blind. Folds to us. We open it up. Big blind calls. Flop comes ace 10-8. Probably should have been betting here, but I checked. He checks behind. Turn comes a deuce, brings in a heart in. I bet small, about a third pot, try to get some value from a 10, an 8 maybe. Calls. River comes another 8. Not a great card because he had an 8. I'm in trouble. I check. He bets about 80% pot. If he has an 8, obviously I'm behind, but I played this hand pretty slowly, so he could be trying to bluff with a ton of hands. So I make the call, and he shows Jack 8 for the river trips, so we lose that pot. Literally 2 hands later, we're dealt ace jack. We 3-bet this here. I call here earlier in the tournament, but we're getting down a little bit late. I'm going to be 3-betting this a lot because these small stacks will be opening and then folding a lot of the time, and even if they call, could be flipping, could be ahead. So it gets back to him, he shoves. Now it's 13 for us to win 30. Obviously we have to call, and he has tens, so we're flipping. Okay, just gotta hit an ace or a jack. Flop, no help, turn, river. Okay, we lose this pot, and we're down to less than 30 bigs, and we now have about an average stack. So a little bit later, we're now a small stack, less than 15 big blinds. About 25 players remaining. We have Jack 10 in the big blind. It folds down to the small blind, who goes all in. Now, if anybody else went all in here, we would snap fold, but the small blind is shoving with like such a high range of hands. So we make the call and hope for a double. See King 7, so we're a little bit behind, but not in too bad shape. Flop comes Jack 8, 9. Now we're in a good situation. Just got to fade a king. We do, and we get the double up, and we have back to life. A little bit later, we get ace king suited on the small blind. Nice hand. And a big stack opens it up. In this situation, we are shoving all the time with sub 30 big blinds. Ace king suited in the small blind. He calls, and we are ahead. Just got to fade a jack, hit a king. Now we are doubled up, and we have a good stack again. Next level, we have ace 10 on the button. We open this up. Big blind 3 bets us. We probably should be folding this, but we make the call. Flop comes 10, 7, 8, which is nice. We have top, and we're now ahead of ace king, ace queen. King queen, obviously, we're ahead of them already. He bets about half pot. We're gonna have to call here with top. Turn comes a jack, so now we're losing to ace jack. A second flush draw comes in, and when he goes all in here, we have to fold. I mean, he has some bluffs here, some semi bluffs. I guess he could have king queen of spades or clubs, ace king, ace queen of spades or clubs, but we can't make this call. So we fold, and we still have some stack left to work with. Now we get ace king suited in the small blind, and we get an open raise and then a tiny 3 bet from a small stack. In this situation, we're going all in. And we see we're up against another ace king. So let's hit our clubs. Flop comes beautiful. We have 2 clubs. Turn not club. We just gotta hit a club, and then we take the whole pot. We do hit a club. We double up almost and get this lucky pot in our direction. A little bit later, we get ace king again. We elect to flat here. At these stack depths, you should be 3-betting most of the time, but you can flat this a little bit. So I flat about, I don't know, somewhere between 10 and 20% of the time. It folds around and it's heads up. Flop comes 9, jack 3. So we haven't hit, but we have 2 overs. Backdoor straight draw, I guess. He bets. We're going to call here. Turn comes an 8 of diamonds, bringing in diamonds. When he checks here, we decide we're going to take a stab at it. We bet. He calls. A river comes another blank. When he checks again, we think that if we barrel again, there's a decent chance we could take this pot down. So we put them all in. He folds. We take down a nice pot and chip up. A few levels later, We're sitting with 30 bigs. We get queens on the button. So we open this one up, and the small blind shoves. Easy call. We call. We're up against ace queen. She's got to fade an ace or spades. Flop comes, turn, river, fade it. We double up again. Nice. One level later, we're down to the final table. We've got 7 players remaining. We have pocket fives, middle position. We open this one up. The big blind calls. Flop comes 4, 10, 6. Could bet here, but he could have a lot of pairs calling from the big blind. So we just check. Turn comes an ace. Now we are planning on barreling this card, but the big blind bets first instead. So small bet. We call with the intention of barreling the river. River comes a 2. He checks. We bet. Folds. We take it down. Down to 6 players left. We have ace 10 in the cutoff. We open this up. Small stack puts himself basically all in. We have ace 10 against ace queen. We're behind. We hit a 10 on the turn. We take out another player. Down to 5 players remaining. Down to 3-handed after losing a couple of smaller pots. We are the small stack with another slightly bigger stack and a massive stack. Got 9s in the small blind. Easy shove. Calls. He's got ace 7. Just got to fade an ace. And we get the double up. Still 3-handed. We get ace 6 in the big blind. We call. In retrospect, I probably should have been shoving this with 22 bigs. Flop comes 2, 4, 5. With our gutter and our big blind range here, which we have the range advantage here, we open, calls, turn comes a jack, we check, checks back, river, we bet small, he calls, we lose this pot, and now we're back to about around even with the other small stack. So a bit later, we are on the big blind with king jack and the small blind shoves. So now we have our chance to take him out, move up to second, and with king jack versus small blind shove here, we're going to be calling. We call queen 9, we're ahead, but then he hits a queen, flop, turn to jack, so now we need a jack or a king. We don't get it, so now we're down to about 4 bigs. So now we're needing our double with ace 9, go all in. We get called, you see he has ace 10. So we hit a 9 on the flop, now we're hedged, got to fade a 10. Turn comes a 3 of clubs, king of clubs. We get our double up. Now we have 8 bigs and a hope. A few hands later, 10-8 suited. Small blind shoves, which he's doing with all of his hands. Call. He's got queen 6. He hits a queen. And we are dead. We didn't get that king jack versus queen 9, and after that we were a little toast. So we finished in third. Have a nice payout, but I want that first.